This R2 unit has a bad motivator. Look.
Hey, what are you trying to put? Hey, what about that one?
Hey, what about that one?
What about that red one?
What about the red one?
Yeah,
I love that for both of those. Like if you,
No, the red one.
I love that Mark Hamill's delivery is almost identical in both of those. Like
It is.
he's like, he's got a bad motivator. Look, and then what about that? Hey, young Owen, what about that one?
Yeah, what about that blue one?
I'm right here,
Yeah, what about
Luke.
that?
I'm right here. Right here.
Anyway.
I should have let that Inquisitor get you. You'll learn about that later.
Welcome back to the Star Wars Guys podcast. As always, we are your hosts, Mike,
Hello there.
myself, Nate. Hello there, and you know him well, Uncle.
Hello there.
Also known as not Spider Mall, but Spider Robot Machine Monster. No, Uncle's not known as that.
No.
Hey, okay. So there was something I hadn't heard.
He's like, oh, okay.
I missed
I've been
the
called a
missing-
lot of
Is
names.
that what they're
I've-
saying online?
Mm.
Yeah, welcome back. Hey, we got a lot to get to. Mando, episode 2, chapter 18. We're gonna dive into it. We're gonna do a little review, the Mines of Mandalore, but we also got to talk some
Mines
Bad
of
Batch. Can't forget Bad Batch.
Yes.
The last 2 weeks, this week,
Awesome.
great episodes. Great episodes going back to Crosshair.
Great batch,
So,
I'd say.
yeah, good batch, I'd say. Yeah, good batch.
Bad and the
Quite frankly,
Quite
it
the
is
good.
some of the best batch. You look at this
Batches.
batch, it's probably one of the greatest batches we've ever seen. Excuse me, you're nasty. And the batch, you know, Omega.
I don't even know what we're doing.
Oh,
Yeah,
Lord.
Bad Batch is
Oh,
awesome.
man.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's great. So yeah, what do we want to start with, Mando or Bad Batch? A little bit
Mando.
of both.
I do a little bit of Mando
Hey,
first.
People
Let's,
want to
uh,
hear Mando.
let's
We'll
do it,
go
Mando.
We'll get right into it.
I tried to watch Bad Batch first last night.
Couldn't do it.
It didn't drop at the
Oh.
exact same
Oh, really?
time.
We
Yeah.
waited
Really?
10 minutes. I
I
finally figured out the exact time Mando drops.
I went and saw Mando dropped, and I had decided ahead of time that I was gonna watch Bad Batch first this time, and so I was like, all right, we'll go to Bad Batch first. Oh, it's not on there. Then I exit off, went on again, not on there. I go back to Mando. I go, all right, I'm
All
waiting
right.
on that. I waited
I'm
like 30
messing with
seconds.
it.
I
I was
tried.
like,
So
all right,
what
let's go.
time? What time does it go?
I was
1:50.
yeah,
Mando.
I was in Eastern time. I was
Mando.
in
Okay.
I was in
It's-
Indiana yesterday, or this morning. So it was almost 3 a.m. So yeah, like
Yeah.
1 or 2:50 Eastern time.
And then so they just kind of delayed Bad Batch. Is it always that way?
I think I don't know. I don't know when Bad
It
Batch.
was the only time I've noticed that
I
it was a
guess
little
Bad Batch
after.
must be right at 2, maybe 2 a.m. for us.
I would
Central
do
Time.
that. I would
Yeah.
do that. But I have kids, and they got to go to school. Like,
Yeah.
what's the deal with that?
Boom.
So I wait for them to come home, and
Yeah.
then we
Yeah.
watch it.
And it's great because it's always fresh on your mind. For
Always
the podcast.
fresh.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's always
That's
good.
true.
Yep.
Love
I
it.
get too excited. I literally watched that episode and the way it ended, which we'll get into it. But I literally laid in bed and I was like, "Why did I do this? I can't sleep because all I'm thinking about is what we're gonna talk about."
It is always difficult to go back to sleep right after if you wake up for
I
it.
think it was like 3 a.m. and I sent out a tweet. I was like, "How am I supposed to sleep
How
after
can I
watching
sleep
this?"
now?
And a bunch of people liking it, like, "See, this is why I wait."
Did
Honestly,
you do Bad Batch too? Did you both do it at the same time?
Yeah.
Right after? Wow.
Yeah,
I can sleep
did.
after either of those episodes.
It's great.
endings.
So good,
Man.
so good.
All right, well, we'll do Mando,
Mando.
first, and then we'll
Mando,
do Bad, we'll do
overall
Bad Batch.
thoughts? Overall thoughts?
Unbelievable.
It was awesome.
Amazing. I thought
Love
it was
So good.
so good. And of course we go to Tatooine. We're like, okay, he's trying to get
Get
the
Pally.
part,
Yeah.
and we guy just right into
And how about that
R5.
little
It was
fake out?
So
Like,
funny.
we're going to get the part. We don't have the part. All right, well, then we'll have R5.
All right,
Forget
All right.
the fact that I just broke down IG-11's statue and turned
right.
I
him
know.
into
Destroy
a
on-
monster.
right.
I
So
know.
we're not. So he's not going to be back in it.
That's great.
He's not. They did it all just so Taika could get one line in.
We got Taika give one line. Yeah.
Yeah, they
We
went.
got some
R5.
Pelimoto.
And they even teased Boba. You here for Boba Fett? He's like,
Yeah,
no.
she-
I
did
know.
say
We're making
Boba.
all
They
these
dropped the
connections.
name, Yeah. How about
What'd you say? You're
Tatooine?
taking out Boba?
Taking
She
out
said
Boba?
something
Yeah,
like,
you're
you
taking
taking
out
out Boba. And Boonta Eve. We
Yeah.
got
We got
all
that
the
too?
different
I know.
references.
Yeah.
It was great.
Amazing.
How about
She's
Tatooine
like, it's a big
throwing
holiday.
parties now that Boba's in charge?
Right.
What's going on here?
You got. I mean,
A
it's,
lot of fireworks.
I also like that she was talking. You're making me work on Boonta Eve. It's a big holiday. I'm very popular. Is he gone?
Is he gone?
All right, bring out the part. Bring out the part. just swindling them completely.
She is. I love it,
I love
Pelly.
it.
Yeah. Overall
awesome.
thoughts? You liked it?
Loved it.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Liked it. I liked the first one a lot. We've been missing it,
Mhm.
and then this one was surprises and twists, and
Yes.
Yeah.
No,
And I cannot
agree.
help it. We talked about it last week. I can't help it. I like Bo-Katan. I
Yes.
like Bo-Katan.
I love Bo-Katan.
I
I think the
just
character's great.
think she's great.
Yeah.
Nuanced and
completely
The good, the
bought in
bad,
after this
torn.
I
episode.
kind of feel
It's
like
great.
they've maybe
Yeah.
been faking us out. I'm not sure where I think Bo-Katan is going.
no.
If you were asking me coming into the season, and based on the
I
trailers,
was like, oh, she might have
I
it
thought-
out for Din Djarin.
I thought that one of the major conflicts of the season is going to be, and it still might be, Bo and Din over the Darksaber, overruling Mandalore, overdoing all that. But she legitimately saved his life this episode.
Twice.
It's the
He-
fourth time,
Yeah.
by the way.
Yeah.
And
Twice in
hasn't
this
asked
episode.
for a lot in return. Like,
no.
Yeah.
he even says to her, like, I'll be forever in your debt because of this. Like, I won't forget what you did. And
But
saved
I
him.
won't go with you.
Saved him multiple times in this same episode. We'll get to the monster that was like roasting him, sucking his blood out over
I
like
know.
it looked almost like
Grievous.
General
it was
Grievous.
almost like
Yeah.
Han Solo when he was going like the except that it was like a big spider monster who was sucking his blood instead
Right.
of over fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Grievous like because it was being
They even
inside
had a
of
little bit of
They had
the,
the-
I
Even the
think they-
staff that was used
and
by
they
his
being inside of machine. It was this like
And I was listening pretty
Abomination.
intently in that moment, and you could hear a little bit of
You can.
the
Cough?
Grievous.
him
Not
cough.
quite the cough, but you could hear a little bit of that
Mhm.
that almost like voice, the way he walked. It
Yeah.
was almost like they
So here's
used
the-
some of the same audio intentionally.
Not to get too specific into just that part because we'll still do kind of overall thoughts, but was the being the whole time then just the little shell,
Just the-
Yeah.
just the
head.
little
Yeah.
thing
I
because
think so.
and it just keeps going into different machines.
Yeah,
It's
and
it
he
just
keeps
goes whatever it
controlling.
needs.
It was a giant sand crab, is what it was.
Right, right.
It's a sand crab with
It was
one
like a giant
eye.
eyeball.
Yeah.
And it really was. It got into a seashell at the
That's
end.
what I'm
It was
saying.
crawling off.
It was like
love
remember Men in Black, little
Totally,
little
yeah,
tiny
it's
guy
exactly
inside the
what it was.
huge thing.
It
Yeah,
was.
Exactly as Men in Black.
Yeah.
No, I
Yeah.
loved it. Same. Just to reiterate, basically exactly what Uncle was saying. I think that I really liked the first episode, but not so. The things I loved about the first episode weren't necessarily like, oh, because this happened and this happened. It was more because I enjoyed
We're
that we were
back.
back. We're
See
back.
'em
Setting the
again.
stage. We got the tone of
For
the
sure.
show. We saw some familiar pieces. Time has moved forward, and you just feel like, all right, now we've set the stage. Now we're going. I will say, the Minds of Mandalore. The Minds of Mandalore. I'd say it like that because it's the Minds of Moria. But the I will say,
That was Bo, by the way.
I will say, are there not some very big similarities between what's hidden beneath the Minds of Moria and beneath the Minds
Yeah.
of Mandalore?
Yeah.
Also,
In the water.
even with the way it looks, like
Yeah.
think about
Exactly
a
the way it
Balrog and a
comes
Mythosaur.
It is.
But yeah, loved this episode. Really excited. I have one gripe.
I knew it. He's out.
I do have one gripe.
Fun.
Is it time
Ready?
to tell him he's off the
Fun.
cast?
And it's not with the episode itself. The previously on is a little bit of a spoiler.
it is.
Because I immediately
Super bow heavy.
went, well, and I also thought, oh, are we seeing a Mythosaur this episode? Like,
You did.
because they say in the thing, like, it goes all the way back to Road the Great Mythosaur, and I went, ooh,
That's
we're
an
getting.
interesting.
And I
know.
thought,
Mythosaur's
I
gonna
didn't
be
know
in
we
this.
would necessarily get this
Right.
episode, but I thought, oh, we're gonna get into that storyline.
didn't think
of
that.
the
Yeah.
Mythosaur, and it was super bow heavy. But
I saw Alden Diaz tweeted.
you
Said,
said something.
yeah, I saw Alden Diaz tweeted it was like I don't remember. It just said like some tip basically. It was like tip don't watch
Don't
the
watch the
previously. Skip the previously on this.
I'm
week's
doing that from
episode.
now on.
Because just
I'll
like
just watch the previously and then skip because I can remember.
yeah, there you go. You
Just
got it.
watch them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Watch
I
it
know.
previously and then skip the
I'll
episode.
watch it.
You'll only watch the previously from now on.
Breaking
That's
Bad
the
did that
quickest-
to a degree too,
They did.
because they
Yeah.
would show you the previous. They would show you the thing that tied in, and,
And
they were like
Lost.
Right.
skipping, like,
Lost-
oh that,
Lost
we're
did
talking
that.
about that
Yeah.
now.
Lost did
Two
that
goes back.
big
We're talking
time.
about two.
Yeah.
Right,
Lost did
Lost
that big
so
time.
much.
Lost.
Like, oh, it's an
upon
early
rewatch,
episode.
It would
Oh,
be.
all of our
You're like,
early.
oh,
Yeah.
here's previously on Lost. And I'm like, that wasn't last episode. Last episode was all about the others. This
It's-
is about Jin and Sun
We're
getting on the
all
island.
on now. We're
so-
getting there.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
understand why. I understand the business part of it.
Sure.
If people aren't,
You
I
got to
mean,
get people
like
up.
I'm
to
watching
line
it
them.
with, I'm watching it with my wife Abigail, and she's not watching the previously on and going Mythosaur, and she's not thinking, I bet a Mythosaur shows up.
Yeah.
She's listening to it and is like, oh yeah, I kind of don't remember that, or like I don't. And then it shows up, she's like, oh, that's the thing there. And I'm like, yeah, it's a good
that's
payoff.
it.
So
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand why it's there. So yeah, it's not really a gripe. It's just I had my antennas up a little bit more than I
Yeah.
would have.
Yeah.
But it still surprised me because I didn't think that. I thought we might get a hint of it or hear a rumble or something. But when you see an eye open and then it actually moving in the water, you're like, there it is. That
You
was
better hurry.
Yeah.
yeah, that was surprising. That was very surprising.
Yeah.
Nate, overall thoughts? I know we're going deep already.
No, I loved it. I loved it. I mean, not much more to say overall that you guys haven't already touched on, but it was great.
All right, well then let's go to Uncle.
Awesome. Okay, let's talk about Bad Batch for a little bit.
Bad Batch.
Big change of pace, I think, from the last episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very different style of episode, which the first one kind of seemed it was jumping a little bit around here. You get the pirates, going here.
Right.
This one was Bo-Katan, Grogu, Mando, almost one shot all the way through.
We got a little
We're watching
Tatooine, then we're
whole
back on the
story.
rails going to Mando,
Tatooine,
going through there.
Yep.
Yeah.
And even when it did make those jumps to like Tatooine and back, it was
Still, we're still
stuck
going
with
that.
the same character.
Yeah.
Like they all
Yeah.
kind of like went through. I love one thing I loved, and while it was happening, I was like, I don't think we've gotten this yet in the Mandalorian. When Grogu leaves to go off to get, basically goes off on his own. As soon as Mando gets
go back to
captured,
Bo.
as soon as Mando get captured, from that moment, it was we were following a Grogu centric episode.
It's always
with,
a Mando path, right?
With him actually
True.
trying to work his way, using the Force, getting in
Mhm.
there. He says to leave. We're following Grogu all the way back to the ship,
right.
going back to Bo. Even when they come back and Bo-Katan's there, she's still saying, like, you got to leave me, kid.
Yeah.
And then while that was happening, I was like, I am loving this Grogu journey that we're going on with
Yeah.
him by himself. I was like, we
And
haven't
he's-
seen this yet.
It's amazing.
He's progressing. He's getting
Yeah.
older, getting not just more with the Force, but I liked, especially I watched it twice, and on the second time, Din's very intentional of like, yeah, this is the plan, and he's showing him on the little
Mhm.
the dashboard. This is the planet where
This is where
this is where
Bo-Katan
Bo-Katan
is.
was. We went to go see Bo, and then when Grogu gets in,
He just points.
he looks at R5 and points right to
Yeah.
the thing, and boom, they're gone.
Yeah.
He's teaching him
It's cool.
to be. I mean, we saw it in the last episode. An interesting thing too about it, somebody mentioned, if you didn't watch Boba Fett,
Yeah,
you'd be like, "What is happening?"
yeah.
Yeah.
Because the Boba Fett the connection between Grogu coming back to Mando happened on the Boba Fett series. So if you missed that, I thought he left him. What happened?
Yes.
Yeah.
So anyway, I thought that was interesting. But so he's getting. I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, what were we talking about?
Bo-Katan,
I think,
Grogu.
what was it, the
I was like
Moria?
Michael Scott. In what context did I use it?
Grogu-centric episode,
Yeah.
following Grogu.
Bo-Katan.
Bo-Katan.
It'll come back.
Talked
in a minute.
about
Moff Gideon. We're just throwing out Star Wars.
It'll
names.
come back in a minute.
Mayday.
Maybe.
Oh, Mayday.
that's
Bad
a little
Batch.
teaser for all
Bad
you
Batch.
Bad
Batch
Oh,
fans
yeah,
out
yeah,
there.
I got it. So
It was Mayday.
So we're seeing Mando, right?
That's did it.
He's really making Grogu. I mean, we know he is, but he's teaching.
Oh,
he's
yeah.
treating him like a foundling, learning the ways of the Mandalorian,
Yeah. Exactly.
not Jedi.
He's teaching them
Right.
Mandalorians have to know their
Because
ways
he's
throughout the
realizing
galaxy.
he left.
That choice was
The
made.
choice was made. He left the Jedi to come be with me. And
So
be,
we continually
be a
see
Mandalorian.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
That's
love that-
cool because
that is
teaching him all
cool.
the things about travel and
And he says, Mandalorians. This was our. He doesn't say this is mine.
This is ours.
This was our
That's right.
planet. This is. So
And-
he's saying like, and I love that going off of that too, the intentionality of the verbiage and the words used in this episode
Mhm.
of Bo-Katan continuously referring to Grogu as
You just stole what
the
I was going to
kid,
say.
The kid,
and
your
his
father.
dad.
your father, your
Right.
dad.
You think your dad was the only
Stuff like that,
Mandalorian?
because now it's become more of just I'm not watch. It's not. He's not just watching him to take him to a Jedi anymore.
That's right.
You're for good.
you're
This is your
together.
family. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is your family. He's your dad.
yeah,
And this is it. And you're going to be part of this Mandalorian now. The clan of two, the
Yeah.
Mudhorn clan now.
right.
So I like the words. As soon as I heard that, I was like, oh, I could get used to this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there's so much. This also had multiple different good emotional beats in this episode. The way Mando. It's funny. I think that Bo has. Well, this is kind of one of the overall things I want to talk about Bo-Katan. But this episode was the most Bo-Katan we've ever gotten,
Yeah.
and I like it because in
And I want more.
yeah
More.
More,
More.
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 Do you think you got him? In season one, in season 2, all the Bo-Katan moments, even though we got big fighting, we got a lot of stuff, it all was very much that she is serving as a complementary piece to Mando. It's about getting Mando to where he needs to be to this. Where all of a sudden, when Mando's captured in this, and you have all the baggage of what's gone on with Bo as a leader of Mandalore, as a failed leader, talking about losing her family, losing her father, this all of a sudden becomes almost like a 3-headed story. This episode of it's the Mando story because he's the driving force.
Redemption here,
Then it's the Grogu, and then now on our way back, it's Grogu doesn't talk. It's all Bo-Katan dialogue to a character who doesn't speak. So it's a lot of just getting to learn a lot more about Bo-Katan talking about.
What are you looking at?
Yeah, like that was a great delivery right there. I think that
looking at.
I love Katie Sackhoff.
She's
awesome.
She's so good.
great
So I love that we're
Bo-Katan.
getting more of Bo's actual thought process, her character.
Yeah.
This is and I'm interested to hear what you guys' thoughts are. I already teased up a little bit that I'm a little not confused, but I am still unsure as to where Bo-Katan is going to go as far as in her
I
conflict.
changed my idea.
I thought that
I haven't
initially, which I'm glad that I don't have this correct. I don't have any idea. Initially, I think that based on the trailers, when you see the scenes of her sitting on the throne, even the end of the first episode, goodbye, Din Djarin. She says it in a way that I'm like, ooh, that sounds.
And then let's finally get rid of him.
Let's get rid of him once and for all. I'm like, I was thinking she might come out there and be about to blow up the ship, and then find out that, But instead, she walks out and she's like, "Hey, didn't I tell you?" And I was like, "Oh, maybe she is
change
just
the tone.
It was definitely different." And then she sees.
It really seemed like she really was like defeated. Like, didn't I
Yeah,
tell you?
didn't
I
I
don't want
tell you?
anything.
I don't want
want to be left
anything to do with it.
alone. Yeah.
But when she was inside, let's get rid of him once and for all. It's like she has a trap for him, or she has.
Yeah.
But she went so far to, she said, "What happened to him?" When she's talking with Grogu, what happened to him? All right, immediately she goes. He even says, "Get Bo-Katan." Like, he knows that she's going to come help him.
Yeah.
And she leads him there, and I'm like, even as she's leading there, I'm like, is there going to be a trap, or is there going to be something where she's going to try to get
I'll
the
take
dark
you to the
sabers or
waters.
get something?
You never
Instead,
find it by
she's
yourself.
like, "Here, let me give you the full tour." And she's still battling emotional stuff against him she's poking fun at, like, I still can't believe you believe this these childish stories. There's nothing about the water that's special. And he's like, "No, I have to do it. If without the creed, what are we? Because we're dispersed across the galaxy." And she kind of understands what he's saying a little bit. But the episode ends with literally her risking her life multiple times to save him, diving into the water. Which, by the way, do we think that the Mythosaur pulled him in, or something pulled him in? Because he
had to, right?
But like, did the Mythosaur grab this giant thing and like pull his little legs down through or something?
I think he stepped off, and it was a drop off, and Beskar weighs more than steel. Like,
he's saying,
or maybe not
that
because
thing
he's
went
carrying
straight.
it.
Yeah,
He can't
somehow
weigh
he
more.
went, like, as he was talking, like
was
sucked
pulled down or something.
It almost pulled down, but then
There could have also
I
been,
don't know
like,
if it's the armor or if it's
Could
some
also
be
sort
because
of
he's wearing it all the
connection
time.
between the
I was
Mando
gonna say
and
it
the
could be a little
Mythosaur.
like King Arthur,
Maybe.
like like we're the one because what they've been teeing up a little bit with the Mythosaur and
It's kind of like
that he is like the chosen one to revive Mandalore.
It's kind of like the Rancor. Like, it'll destroy you, but if you have a bond with it, it looked at Boba Fett and was like, "Okay, you're good. Like, we're on good
You can
terms."
feel such things.
Yeah.
But
So
Okay, you want to hear my new take?
love it.
yeah.
Let's hear it.
I think we got a glimpse of what is motivating Bo-Katan now. She is a princess or a royal without a kingdom,
yeah,
and they're fragmented, and the world is destroyed, and all of the people are scattered.
mm-hmm.
And now here comes this, what she would call a naive zealot,
Yeah.
Yeah.
who is rekindling in her a sense of wonder about Mandalore. I
Yeah.
think,
Even
believe,
when it's destroyed, he still believes that Mandalore is
I
special.
think passion moves. People respond to passion. even if it's
Yeah.
misplaced, even if it's based on something wrong. It
That's a
still
great
it
point.
still moves
Yeah.
people to respond.
To see someone that passionate
It
about
makes
it.
you
Yeah.
feel something. And
Oh.
I think when they got back there, it's all destroyed. He still believes it.
Yeah.
And she is thinking, maybe I'm the one who's jaded.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
there's more to it than this.
Like, and at first I think there was a little.
when he
bit
walks
of,
in, you see it in her
there's a
face.
little
She's
bit
like,
of a switch. Yeah.
wow, the words
Yeah.
coming from him sparked something. Like it sparked something in her. Like that's real. That I used to believe that's actually.
Mm-hmm.
I've missed hearing this.
Yeah.
I think it
That's
meant something.
interesting,
I think
yeah.
it meant something to her. But also, I think the thing that hurts her the most is the fact that the Mandalorians have fought against each other, clans warring,
Yeah.
split, and now they're completely divided. And the overarching thing for her is she will not abandon a Mandalorian, no matter
Yeah.
what.
Yeah.
You disagree, whatever. You're a Mandalorian in need. I come and help. That's what
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and we've seen her do that. Did it by
Yeah.
herself. Like,
And I think both of
it's-
them are the same. They're both aligned in that aspect,
yeah,
but they're just their sense of creed, their identity of what they now view the creed is different.
yeah,
But in terms of the Mandalorian culture, that we're scattered, we need to come together. They're aligned in that, but they're just almost not on the same terms of how they come together.
right.
Whereas the Children of the Watch, Mando's group that we're saying is this group that she's saying that's a cult-like thing. They're not doing it the right way, but she does still agree that
She sees him.
Mandalorians are scattered. We need to come back together.
And she sees him as a man of honor. She doesn't see him as she thinks he's misguided, but he believes this and will live for it and will die for it.
Yeah.
And we saw her get the Darksaber,
yeah,
and then he picked it up, put it back in. No,
yeah,
I believe that his mythos around taking off the helmet, I think it will come back to say that's similar to your mythos about having to disarm the Darksaber.
yeah.
It's not required.
Not required.
I don't.
You just believe that.
That's a good
That's
point.
part of your lore, but you don't need. That doesn't. What does it matter?
It doesn't matter. There's nothing special about
About
the water. There's
taking
nothing
it.
special about
because in season
about
2,
taking it
The
and
leader
down.
is the leader, Darksaber or not. You can lead the people of Mandalore.
Yeah.
isn't
So I think
You can
she's
lead
gonna.
the people of Mandalore because you're qualified
Because you're
to
the
lead
leader.
the people
Yeah.
of Mandalore.
What's
Right.
funny is
Not for any other
what's
reason.
funny
That's
is
why I think she's gonna
rewatching
do
the
it.
finale of
I
season
agree.
2. I believe Moff Gideon says that. Like Moff Gideon says, the saber doesn't have power. The story
The
does.
story does.
And like
Yeah.
that's the story.
Exactly
like she
right.
can't do that because they won't. Like people won't believe
Yeah.
if she can't tell them that she got this by what she believes is like the
Honorable,
the
right
honorable
way.
way to prove that you bested someone. So now I am
Yeah.
the most powerful and I'm the leader. If I can't tell that story, no one's gonna follow
and
me.
that was true.
And that was true.
Not anymore.
And it's not
Yeah.
anymore.
I don't
Yeah,
think
and
so.
I think that even it questions at the time too. I mean, because there's a lot of stuff that we don't know how things necessarily went wrong
Right.
with Bo-Katan. She talked a little bit about it in this, that a lot of the infighting and different factions and stuff. She said like we had stupid fighting, or we're killing each other over.
Yeah.
Should've
She
been.
said
nothing.
that. She said that's what's killing me.
That's what's yeah.
That's what's
She-
hurting me is that
didn't she say
Mandalorians
that's-
across the galaxy are killing and fighting each other.
Right.
Didn't she also say that that was essentially what led to them being so vulnerable that the Empire came in and wiped them out? Like that they weren't able to. I think she was saying essentially like that's also one of the reasons why we weren't nearly as unified to stand up to the Empire.
stand
Came
up.
in to send them a message and get them out of there. They tried to,
Yeah.
you know,
They also
she said
run it
rid
to
any
raid
any
all the
sign
Beskar
of any
and-
sign of them. We're destroying the whole thing.
Yeah.
And normally, just like we know going back to ancient Mandalore, Jedi had a hard time defeating Mandalorians
Yeah.
when they were actually unified, because that's how good of warriors they were back when Mandalorians and Jedi fought against each other. The fact that the Empire came in and bombed the place, and there's not a whole lot you can do to bombs, except that I think that at the time it sounds like it was a society completely fractured, completely probably
Like it
nobody's
was
listening
yeah.
to her, nobody's listening. Hey, this threat's out there, all these things are happening.
The
Empire
Watch,
goes,
we already know that the
boom,
Watch had
take 'em
already
out.
left because
Right.
they talk about how they went off world.
Let's get
she
to
said
that.
the Watch abandoned us.
Do we think
Mhm.
So they were already scattered.
when Mando says Bo-Katan was right, like it's not cursed, and then he says it to Bo, and
She's like,
Bo's
"What?
Bo's
Look
like,
around."
yeah, look around, everyone's
Was
dead.
I? Look around, yeah.
Do we think at all? Do we still have any thoughts that maybe the do we think the armor just has a different philosophy, or do we think she's intentionally misguiding people? I know we've had different thoughts on that in the past.
Well, I know she's bad, so
Yeah, I remember that video.
Yeah. If not, everybody, we have everyone watching us because of this.
no, I think
I'm just wondering if we have any
Mandalore
thoughts
is
on that.
yeah. The armorer is good. We do
I
that.
think
We were
that-
wrong.
I think that dating back before the Night of 1,000 Tears, because if they were actually off-world, why wasn't she there when that happened?
Mhm.
You know, they're actually off-world, and like Bo-Katan said, like they left before that happened. You know what I mean? They abandoned them. That whatever the conflict was, maybe it was their ideology around Death Watch, and they kind of carried that moving forward, that they need to revert back to the ancient Mandalorian ways of being a little more not as, I guess, peaceful.
Mhm.
They're kind of like fight and take up
Yep.
what is ours, that sort of thing. Rule with power and strength. That because that was kind of their view, and there may have been differentials there, that she, the armorer, I think there's a part of her that maybe believes some of it, but also like she has a motive to be like, this is how we need to rebuild, but is doing it intentionally in a way to do exactly what's happened to Din, of like bought into like a cult like thing.
Yeah.
Like she might believe the best way to get the Mandalorians back is to have these rules, to always have each other's back. This is how we do it. This is the way.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing that some of this stuff isn't required, but it's gonna get people to buy in.
Yeah.
Like this is what my overarching, like this is what my vision is, and how we get people together.
Yeah.
And we're gonna do it this way because it's gonna get people to completely buy in, like Din's doing. Like no matter what, he's like, I have to do this. I have to, because this is the way.
Yeah.
He's bought in. So I feel like there's maybe a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Coming from the armor.
Yeah, that could be.
Mm.
I do think that I think the armor has the best of intentions for the Mandalorians. I do. I think she's trying to rebuild Mandalore based
She says
on.
different way of going about it.
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah.
and I mean, if
well,
the
she is out there getting foundlings and trying to rebuild.
here's the question.
She's clearly helped them stay hidden and safe, build
Yeah.
up his
Yeah.
armor.
Well, think
do
about
stuff
this
like that.
sense. So let's say we fast forward and they do establish a kingdom, and Bo-Katan is the ruler of Mandalore. Is the armor going to stay separate because those aren't real Mandalorians? You know what I mean?
Good
Because you
question.
can't, if you take your helmet off, you're not a real Mandalorian. But now the kingdom is reestablished.
Yeah.
Bo-Katan is ruling. People, the Mandalorians are coming back to Mandalore
Yeah.
to rebuild. Is the armorer going to say that's not real? They're not real Mandalorians, or would they? Maybe
Or will she say, no, it's just now's the time. We did what we had to do.
we do. We
and
have to do.
now's
Now
the
we go.
time to-
Now we unite.
Yeah.
We disagree on this, but we unite and we go back.
Could be. Yeah.
Or
I
do
don't
they
know.
fight because they're not real Mandalorian? I don't.
Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting.
Along those lines, do we think that Din's taking his helmet off anytime soon?
I
After
I
all of
think
this,
it's-
I think he's in, man.
I
don't
think he's in too.
I
don't think he
know.
can.
I feel like
we might
before
never
the-
see Pedro Pascal again.
Ever.
2 episodes ago, I
He's
would've
going
said,
through the mines. He's getting sucked underwater, fighting spider, robot, Grievous
Yeah.
monsters. He's going to be riding a mythosaur.
Grievous monsters.
I don't think after all that he's going to go, actually, you know what? This isn't the way.
I can't
I
breathe
don't
in
know.
this thing.
I before this
face is
season
so
started,
hot.
my prediction was he was going to get there. He's going to find out something about the Mandalore.
We thought he was going to ditch the armor.
the
yeah.
truth about the Mandalorian ways, and he would be like, "Oh, this isn't the way. This
I don't
isn't
need
real.
this."
I don't.
Right.
This isn't. I'm with Bo-Katan. I'm with what's
Yeah.
actually true." That was kind of my thing. Then we saw this episode, and I was like, "Oh, he's completely bought in."
Bo might not have to take hers off now.
Yeah, both bought in.
Never see
No,
her face
but
again.
I do think it's interesting though, because even with questioning all these different things of the armor and where Din will line up between the armor and Bo-Katan and what his path is, I don't think I've ever, and I could be wrong, they could very well do this, but I've never thought that Mando would rule Mandalore. That Din Djarin will actually be the ruler of Mandalore. I think he would be worthy.
Yeah.
I think he's the Jon Snow. He's the character that doesn't want the title, doesn't want to be, king, doesn't want to rule, which is actually what makes him a
good
qualified,
candidate.
good ruler,
Right.
Because he doesn't want those titles. But after this episode, I always thought the Mando, the strict reason why I thought that, even though I think he could fit the role, I just thought that between him and Grogu, there's a bigger thing.
Something else.
There's something else that's going to be even bigger than him just like him ruling Mandalore.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I've always thought. So I thought if this is all leading to him being the ruler of Mandalore, they still could do that. But I always thought there might be something bigger with him,
I know what it
him
is.
and Grogu.
I know what it is.
For Bo-Katan, after
I know
this
what it is.
episode,
Uncle knows what it is.
I thought for sure Bo-Katan might be. This is now her path.
Yeah, I think
She's
gonna
seeing
rule.
it through Din and realizing, I can be. I'm the ruler. I could be that, but maybe not in the way that she thought.
Mhm.
I think, like you said earlier, her watching
Wait a second.
Din Djarin through his eyes, through his helmet, is kind of making her look at things maybe a little differently.
Din is Tariq Makto. He's going to travel to bring the clans back,
Yeah.
and she's going to. I mean, really, that's the ruler, but he's going to use the legend of the Mandalorian to
Unite.
he and Grogu to go out and draw the people back,
Yeah.
and he'll go fight Thrawn with Ahsoka.
Yeah. Let's go.
Let me ask
Wouldn't
you
that
this.
be crazy if he goes out there? And
He's
It
gonna
is
ride
interesting.
the Mythosaur on top of the Purgles in
Well,
hyperspace.
here's
and
what
that's
I-
how he gets
here's what I
Mythosaur
can't
from one
wait.
place to the next.
Here's what I can't wait because they already teased it a little bit. We saw
Oh, man.
Pelly. We saw Pelly Moto. Amy Sedaris. She's hilarious.
She's gonna ride. The
I
Mythosaur.
want every scene of her smiling just to be missing one
when
more
did the tooth go?
I know.
I think that was in
I
was it
love
Boba
it.
Fett? The tooth
It was
fell
Boba
out?
Fett.
Oh,
She gets
that's.
hit and she
I
goes,
remember
Yeah,
that.
that's what I'm trying to go, oh, what?
Yeah.
But it was Jar Jar.
remember
and I
that.
said, may the force be with you. I was like, oh, I forgot she's missing a tooth.
Yeah.
Can't
But
you get
this
that
is what I can't
fixed?
wait because this is what's going to happen.
You got
Couldn't
all
you-
these parts, and
couldn't
you
you
can't get
fix
a fake
that?
tooth.
This is what's
Go
going
to
to
the
happen.
mods. Go to the mods.
Right.
Dude, the mods.
That'd be
I
hilarious.
kind of hope that.
Belly gets a grill from the mods.
I kind of hope the mods went out of business. here's what the mods might have been working on.
They're working for
they're
Boba.
working on
They're working
Grie-
on Cobb Vanth.
They're working on that Grievous monster.
Yeah, really.
No, here's what is going to happen. If you want to know what's going to happen next episode,
do.
This
I
is
would
what's
love-
going to
Well, I
happen.
don't, but I will hear what you
This
think.
is what's going
Trigger
to
warning.
happen next episode. Is my prediction. We just visited Tatooine. We saw Pelly. Pelly mentions
They're throwing a party.
Bunta Eve.
no, Pelly mentions Boba, and
Yeah.
she said you can take out Boba Fett, which was funny because she's like, "You taking out Boba?" or something like that. But
Why should I?
this is what's he's like. Why he's
I
helping
thought he
me.
was doing good.
Take him out.
I helped him last time I was here.
Yeah.
This is what I see happening. He's gonna come back to Pelly, riding the Mythosaur. He's gonna say, "Hey, Boba," and Boba's on his cute, tiny little Rancor.
What a race.
He's on his tiny,
He's on his weak,
puny
tiny
little Rancor.
That's a cute rancor.
Boba thinks it's so cool, and he's this. Boba Fett, and all of a sudden a Mythosaur comes up, and he's
oh
like,
my goodness.
"Oh, you're still riding that thing, bud?" All of a sudden, that's how he talks. He talks like Jason Bateman or something.
Hey, bud.
Hey,
pal.
It's
Grogu's riding that.
It's
and
so
Zelen.
cute the way you're riding.
Yeah,
that
George
rancor.
Michael, be careful on the cute little guy you got there. Okay, all right. Yeah. All of a sudden, he takes off. All of a sudden, Boba's
Can
like,
you
Boba's
get a
like,
Mythosaur off-world? Can you
Wasn't-
even get a Mythosaur
we don't even know
off-world?
what a Mythosaur can do.
Well, wasn't
I
the
don't-
Mythosaur what Boba Fett was riding in the special? That was,
I think so, but since then
but
they've
not the
changed.
same
They've
thing.
changed.
Yeah,
But it was
it's
supposed to be.
it was
Some
supposed
sort.
to
It
be.
was supposed to be some sort
Or
of
a-
dinosaur creature.
Giant,
Yeah,
yeah.
I
Maybe
think that's
not.
kind of where the idea stemmed from, and then
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
Exactly.
and then it grew into what we now know as the Mythosaur.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
So,
is a
the
bit
logo.
based on myth.
Because
It's a
Boba
mythical
also
dinosaur.
says,
It's a mythosaur.
Yeah.
Boba
It's a
also says
Mythosaur.
I've
How
ridden
about that,
Beast.
Mando?
I've ridden Beast 10 times
Snake.
this or something like that. He does. Boba says
does.
that.
Boba did
Does.
say that.
I
So
found
that's
that-
kind of a hint back to the holiday
Left
special.
to die in the
Um,
mines of Mandalore.
Wait,
The
imagine if Boba's already ridden one.
Yeah. Boba's like,
So, yeah, I remember I did that one time.
it's my good pal. Come here.
Oh,
Gucci,
come here. Oh, Gucci,
Gucci.
Gucci. I know these beasts can feel such things.
I love they really leaned into a couple of odd beats in that show.
It's so great.
And they're some of my favorite
did.
parts.
Oh, these beasts can feel such things.
I love it. I love it.
No,
No, that's not what's going to happen. Who knows? Maybe it could. No, I don't think that it will, though. I do think that.
do you think he
Oh.
tames it? Do you think Mando?
I'm wondering if
Or
they're going to get out of
Grogu.
there
I want-
alive. They're going
Do you
to.
think Mando
Danny
or Grogu-
Danny Trejo's in there too, and
Or
he's going to help
Grogu.
train the mythosaur. Danny Trejo's just
He just trains all
training
beasts.
everything. Yeah.
It's great.
No, do you think that there's a possibility he or Grogu tames it, he rides it? I don't know.
This feels a lot.
I
Ancestors.
don't really see. I mean, we don't know what this thing can do. So.
No, this
Yeah.
feels a lot more, which is cool. This feels Arthurian legend,
Yeah, release the
chosen
Kraken.
one. Even though there's already been chosen one in Star Wars, but this is a different, like the one to unite and rebuild.
Unite
This
the
feels
clans. Right, right.
This is
Yeah.
that mythical. So I do
Yeah.
think it'd be less maybe of just like, oh, we'll train. It's not like riding
No,
a
it
blurg
feels
or even
like,
riding any of the other creatures
Yeah.
that Boba or him may
I have no
Well,
idea
the
how
last
that's
thing,
gonna
the
play
last
out.
thing he told the armorer
know either.
was, "I'll bring something back from the living waters to prove to you that I did it." that
Does
I-
this prove that I've
and
been to
she basically
Mandalore?
wrote it off. It was like, it's
Yeah.
not possible. You
Right.
can't. Like, I think it's funny how in Boba Fett she tells him this is
What
what
if I
you're
can?
supposed to do, and then in the first episode she talks about it and it's like, oh well, no, you can't. It's destroyed. You can't actually do it though. Like, it's not actually possible.
Yeah.
And she's
Basically,
like, you
you're
need to
just
do
not
that.
Mandalorian. It's not actually done. And then he's like, I'm doing it.
He's proving
So I'll
everybody
bring, I'll
wrong.
bring
Yeah.
back something to prove to you. So now we get the mythosaur. Is there going to be any sort of tie to the mythosaur that he'll able to bring back something?
He's going to pull the plaque off that stone.
Oh, maybe.
Abigail,
Yeah,
Abigail and I, when we were
No,
watching it
no.
today, was like, she kept waiting for. She was joking, but she was like, "He said he needs to bring back proofs. I keep waiting for him to just be like selfie
Right,
in the
right,
living
right.
water."
I know.
I said it would
I
be
actually
hilarious.
I thought that
give
too.
me a Din, but he's got all his armor off, so he's like shirtless in the water, but he's still got the helmet on. And it's just like, this is swimsuit Din. And he's
Yeah.
just taking
Or
a
worse,
dip.
the helmet's off in the selfie.
They're just
Oh,
having
it's
a
You took
off.
the
whole
helmet
debate.
off after you bathed.
Oops.
They're having a whole
You're a
debate of
Mandalore
whether
no
it's
longer.
Photoshop.
Darn it! I did it again.
Yeah. No, I think it's. How do I know that's you?
Hey, you should have taken your helmet off. You said that was against the rules.
You are familiar with Photoshop?
So you went
I
to the
see.
place where all the Mandalorians have been before, and you expect me to believe that one is you. He's like, all of them are dead. They're all dead.
I do think that
I
she
don't-
speaks condescendingly all the time.
She definitely does.
Yeah.
I will
Yeah.
make an armor for you. Din Djarin.
This is the
Din
way.
Djarin. This is the way.
This is the way.
Yeah, I don't.
This
I
is
don't
the way.
know. It just.
He gave a very emotional "This is the way" when he heard
Yeah.
Bo's father.
Caught her
had
by
died.
surprise.
He like stood there. It was almost like an attention.
like honor. Yeah.
this is the way.
It's the
She even
king.
looked at him. I think that
It's
even
the king.
I think
Yeah.
that even got to her.
That-
Yeah, because she was like,
there's something noble about the
Wow.
fact that this is a guy who has not been here and he's lived his whole life
dedicated to
dedicated
this.
to
Dreaming
the
about
idea
this.
of this
and
place.
I can.
And
Like
I
how
was, and I was born here, and it was all phony.
I
and
almost got a. I
Exactly.
she
almost
just
got
writes
a
it
little.
off almost now of like the history of it, and this is like you've never even tried this. What was it called?
It makes me think
Yeah,
sometimes.
the soup.
The
Yeah,
soup.
it makes me think sometimes about like someone who lived in a particular city or a particular part of town or something like that, and someone who lived in a worse area. They're like, man, my whole life was, parents working to get to this, or I working to get this, and finally move into a good location. And it's like, you get there and you're like, man, you don't take any of it for granted versus someone who's
Right.
just been there.
We
They
did
grew
that.
up
I
in
did that in
Yeah.
Nashville because I had lived there for a long time.
Yeah.
Friends would come and I'd realize, oh, that's right. This is a tourist town. I forgot. People come here to go
Yeah.
see, like, go downtown and see stuff
Yeah.
and go to the Hall of Fame and the Grand Ole Opry. It's like, oh, that's right. It is kind of cool.
Yeah.
I live down the street from it. I was like, oh, yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
I can't imagine being born into it. And then
Right.
Totally.
I
Right.
think his passion is kindling something in her.
I agree.
And
Me
also, remember what was one of the first things he said to her? You're not a Mandalorian. You take
Yeah.
your helmet off.
Yeah.
You're not a real
You're not-
Mandalorian.
you're not a true Mandalorian.
That's very different than what he's acknowledging now.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
acknowledging her
Yeah.
father and the.
Yeah. This is
Sounds
the
like a
way.
great man. He didn't say he's
This is the
apostate.
way.
No.
He didn't say that. He
No.
considered himself that, but not about him.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I don't know.
I do think
Totally.
it's
I think he's
interesting too. Like
softening.
even the questions he's bouncing off of her is like, he doesn't. She says like, you really buy into this whole thing, like basically the children, the idea, and he doesn't say, well, it's true, it's this. His response is actually, well, without the creed, what am I? It's
We're
almost
scattered.
like he's acknowledging, like, yeah, it might not be, but without it,
What
what's my
unites us?
purpose?
What-
yeah.
What like some of it might be too much. The
Mhm.
helmet, not taking it off, might be much, but without it, without this stuff, that's our identity.
His
Mhm.
sense of
And that
code.
almost seems
Yeah.
like it kind of hit her back with like, you're right. Like
It might not be
without
that,
us,
but it is
it
something.
might not be that, right? But without
We don't have
us
anything now.
together,
Yeah.
without
Right.
Mandalore, yeah,
There has to be some sense of code.
Just
that keeps
aimless.
it- yeah.
right.
No,
Man,
I thought that was.
think there's just so much depth to this episode.
It's awesome.
Too. Literally,
Are they gonna have to outrun a mythosaur when the
Literally
episode starts?
I think they're gonna
Or did
they're
it
gonna
just
start
wake up
running. They're gonna
and-
find this nice wizard who says, "You shall not pass."
I think in a weird way, it
And all of a
wasn't-
sudden, it's gonna be Mando instead of Gandalf. Mando. He's gonna say
It's
it's
gonna
gonna,
be
change it all. I'm a servant of the sacred water, living beneath the mines of
No,
Mandalore.
you
You
got
shall not pass.
You got
Bill
it all
Burr.
wrong. It's
It is.
it's Grogu's
Bill
force.
Burr, I got
force-
the pass of Kaiser Doom. You shall not pass.
They're gonna. Din's
Yeah.
gonna snap out of it. They're gonna turn around and Grogu's gonna use the force on it so that it can't come. And he's gonna look back. It's gonna be Grogu's first words.
Fly, you fool. No.
Holding on by his ears.
Grogu. That's Frodo. Grogu.
No, I just In a weird way, I didn't really. It didn't look like
Menacing.
like it didn't look like it was coming after them.
No, but
I-
it went by pretty fast.
And
Yeah.
this episode ended
It awakened
on it ended on a beat where they're sitting right there. It wasn't like, well, we'll get out and leave, and then maybe when we come back, that thing will have awoke. It's like, no, it's awake right now.
This is
I'm
another one I
curious
think
to
they have
see
to
how-
start where they left off.
Yeah, and I'm
Yeah.
curious to see how Bo-Katan will respond to seeing it too.
Because Bo-Katan saw it, though.
And she was shocked. You see
She
all
was
the
the one.
bubbles come
She's
out.
actually the one who did see it because he was unconscious.
It's true.
We don't know if he saw it on his way down, but she's swimming up and she looks and she goes and blasts out of there. But she sees it.
Yeah.
The fact that she lived there her whole life and didn't know that was
Yeah.
because she said, "Oh,"
Or maybe it wasn't there.
Well, she said like the legend is that this used to be a mythosaur lair, and then
Right.
she says it like that as if like
Right, but I
Yeah,
wonder
it's-
if part of it, who knows
Yeah, you
how
mean
big
maybe
this
it's-
thing is. It could have been somewhere else on the planet. It hasn't been seen.
Well, and also
now that no one's there, now that
Well,
everybody
also-
retreated from Mandalore, it's back.
Interesting.
who knows too how I mean, she said like this I grew up here. I don't know if they were all swimming in the sacred waters,
Right.
exploring just because she
No.
lives
Their
There's
daily,
in the waters
their
there.
daily shower and bath.
That's
is
what I'm
just
saying.
in the
She
living
lived
waters.
there. The mythosaur might be beneath the surface this whole time, and it's just part
Yeah,
of its
that's
thing. Is
true.
it doesn't come up, or
Right.
maybe certain maybe her father knew it was there or something like that, and it's one of
Mandalore
those.
the Great.
Who knows? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought it was an awesome episode.
It's-
Such I still can't get over the spider monster tech.
That thing was awesome.
Like such a cool one. It was like straight up. It did give like we've talked a little bit before about it had kind of Terminator vibes mixed
Yeah.
with Alien. The last
Agree
couple
with-
episodes
agree
of
with
Bad Batch, we had a little bit of some Alien
Yeah, we
stuff
did.
mixed in there.
yeah.
This felt Terminator, Alien-esque.
Yeah.
But very, very cool.
Yeah.
But also, this is what I wanted to get at. Where'd it come from? Like,
Right.
who's it? So, is this
Right.
is this a thing from the Empire? Is this a thing? Because it wasn't.
When I
Bo
saw it
didn't walk
crawling
in.
off-
Bo didn't walk in and be like, "Oh yeah, we had these things
right.
that I didn't know they survived."
It's not a thing, right?
It was.
No.
I mean, it's a
Mhm.
thing that was performing like procedures on him.
I
It was
know.
sucking his blood out.
Like what is? Yeah. What
so
is
like,
the
what
deal?
is? So I do think there's. But it was something that when I'm
Butt-sucker.
watching it the first time, I'm like, whoa,
Yeah.
this is strange. When I watched it the second time, I started thinking through like, wait, we
What?
need answers here about
What-
like
right.
it's performing like it captured it, put there, and it starts like, all right, now I'm going through. I was like, is it like some mad scientist
with
monster
other
thing?
Mando helmets there? Whether
other
that was
Mando
from him or
helmets?
not.
Have they
Before-
been torturing them, taking their blood. Like Abigail's like, "Does this thing live off of?" Because it has like these
Tubes.
hoses and tubes. Like,
Tubes.
does this thing live off Mando blood? Like, it all of a sudden went
I know.
super dark and like
I know.
creepy, twisted type stuff.
Yeah, and it's funny.
It's more
'cause
than
this-
just like, oh, we ran into some battle droids. We ran into all of a sudden this is a blood
It's a
sucking
vampire creature
thing that was
Yeah.
literally sucking the life out of.
Yeah. One of the
Mando.
things I was wondering was
Very cool.
if there's a possibility, since the Empire came in and destroyed everything, and they've said that it's. We find out in this episode it's really the atmosphere that's been kind of altered in a sense. You see that flying in,
Mhm.
but it's not actually toxic to breathe when you get
No,
down
they
there.
destroyed all the infrastructure and everything, but you can live there.
It made me wonder if does the Empire still reside here? Like they could have destroyed, scattered everybody, but they still could be doing secret operations
Huh,
and stuff there. It
interesting.
made me start wondering if that was
Maybe.
a possibility. We didn't see that today, but it kind of made me think that. Before we move on to some of the Bad Batch stuff, I wanted to go back to Bo-Katan real quick. One, I loved her character in this episode,
It was
but
Yeah.
awesome. She was great. Katie Sackhoff.
how intentional it was for her abilities to be shown with the darksaber.
Her
So
versus
easy.
her
I said, as soon as
versus
she picked it
Mando?
up, I was
They
like, she knows how to
intentionally
use
show
this.
Mando and her use it in
Yeah.
the same episode to remind you.
He's a clumsy.
Even after all this time, Mando's still now. He hasn't trained with it as much as Bo-Katan did.
Right.
She actually had it. For
Yeah.
a while,
But he's
for
even been
some time.
taught some little bit of lessons of here's why you struggle with it. He still was dragging
and he
it on the
still
ground.
can't do it.
Like, he
and,
still's not
and
great
they
with it.
intentionally show a little bit of him using it in this episode, just so that when Bo-Katan uses it, we're like, "Wow, that's what it's supposed to look like."
Dispatches that
The
crab
whole thing, yeah.
monster. and
Yeah, just destroy
The first
it.
version of it
Second.
and the second version of it, boom, boom, like
Yeah.
that.
matter.
So I love that, and when
It
that
made me
happened-
honestly. It made me want to see her have it.
I
know.
know.
I saw it and I was like, she does deserve it. Just,
When that happened, plus
Mando-
the
and Mando's
conversations
like-
they've had, I really do think that.
in
it's gonna-
fairness,
it's
Mando's
gonna
been
lead
like saying that too.
I really feel like it's going to lead to Mando maybe being. He could be a rule, like he could be okay to rule.
Yeah.
Like he could be, qualified.
Yeah.
But is going to help Bo-Katan actually get to the point where, because that's more of a redeeming arc, like
That's
character. arc.
exactly right.
There's no real redemption in Mando to then step up and just become a ruler. Like there's not a big character journey for
And
him to
he's
get to
also
that
not in the. It's not in the lineage. It's not
Yeah.
right.
For her.
That's how wars happen. When someone outside the lineage
Yeah.
Yeah.
earns it by battle.
Yeah.
That's when all
When
of a
it's
sudden
in the lineage of the king, that's how you keep
right.
things in
Whereas
order.
for Bo-Katan, we see a broken character who's ruled before. It's in her heritage. Empire comes in, destroys everything. She's got guilt, probably.
Mhm.
Mandalore's never been in a worse state. They're all scattered. This is a whole redeeming arc for her to kind of work her way back to
Yeah, and Mando's
one,
going to help her
cope
do
with
it.
herself and everything that's gone on, but also just prove to herself and Mandalore that she can be a rightful ruler to bring them all together.
And when you're watching her fight with it too, I kept thinking, "Oh, I want her to have it," and also Mando wants her to have it because Mando's
Why
like,
can't we just
"Take
agree?
it." Mando
Take
even
it.
Mando said, "Take it. I don't want it." And then he's like, and then Moff's like, "She can't do it. She can't take that.
She can't do it.
What's important is the story.
Shut
I mean,
up.
the story. Shut up. You're not even in the next season."
Right.
No. I don't know if he
Yeah.
is or not, but
No,
I was surprised it came back. I thought, that's it. Is that it? Is that it?
she gets it.
Is that it? He was defeated and lost it. She
I also love
found
that it
it.
was,
What else do you need? That's it. He was defeated and lost it.
Yeah.
he lost it sitting right
She
Yeah.
found it. Well, what's the
she
problem?
defeated the thing that took it
the
from Mando.
crawler.
also.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She
Exactly.
defeated the thing that had ownership. Although it didn't take ownership.
It's like the Elder Wand.
she put it in his hand. Here, take this, and then I'll kill
It's
you.
the Elder Wand.
Yeah.
It's the
I
Elder Wand.
disarmed you. Now it belongs to me.
Yeah.
We're gonna
It belongs
trace
to
it
the
back.
creature, and then she
We're gonna
kills the
trace
Disarmed
it
it.
back and find out that it was Malfoy who had it. Harry who disarmed him. This is a
No,
whole.
I think it's. I'm
System
separate?
interested
No.
to see where it goes.
Yeah.
They're obviously.
We're gonna pick up right where we left off, and I think it's gonna be a run for your lives
man.
scenario.
Mando.
Man, oh Mandalorian.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
love it. Love it.
Love
We're
it.
only 2 episodes in,
I
but
know.
based on the
I
show, we
was
only get
expecting a
8
mythos-
episodes. We're a quarter of the way through already.
Man.
When this show first came out, there were questions of like, oh, is a mythosaur going to be involved eventually? Just because,
Yeah.
it's Mando,
Mhm.
it's Mandalorian. But for them to come out and season 3 drop it on the second episode, I was like, all right, we're moving.
We
We're
got
moving.
reference
Let's
to the
go.
mystery on the first episode,
did.
first
Yeah.
chapter.
Yeah, true.
Which is like,
yeah,
yeah.
it's dope.
Love
it's dope. Some Bad Batch. Some Bad Batch.
Bad.
So who watched? Did any of us watch Bad Batch first?
I tried to. So I
That's
think I
right, you
said off
tried
air
to.
maybe. I tried to watch Bad Batch first. Nothing against Mando. It was literally I did it to try to.
I actually
I
saw
did it to try to
tweets.
honor Bad Batch because I really do.
Yeah.
I bow to my sensei and I bow to Bad
bow to
Batch. No, I feel like I'm doing this, and on the other end is literally like Wrecker going, "All right, let's go, break the board." He's punching through the board and through my skull. But no, I did it because I was like, "Oh, this would be an interesting
Yeah.
switch up
Yeah,
to
Sure.
Bad Batch first." I tried to, and Bad Batch had not been released yet. Now,
She couldn't.
at the time that I did it, it was like 10 minutes before, I guess it would be 2 a.m. this time. It was like 10 minutes before, I think. And I got on Disney Plus because they usually do drop Mando. They usually
Early.
drop the episodes a little bit early.
Yeah.
And so I went on and was like, oh, Mando's there. But first, let me see Bad Batch so I can watch that. And I went and Bad Batch wasn't released yet. I was like, oh, shoot. All right, let me exit
right,
off
you're
of
in.
it. Get on
Yeah.
one more time. I'll give Bad Batch another minute. I checked again.
Ooh.
Still wasn't there. And I said, sorry, Bad Batch.
Sorry.
I'm going to
Bad Batch,
Mando. I'm
going
not
to
waiting.
Mando.
Yeah.
So I gotta watch both
I
these
went
anyways.
straight Mando.
I watched the
Yeah.
second. Bad Batch second.
Yeah.
Was
Overall-
not disappointed at all.
No.
Yeah. Overall thoughts on Bad Batch?
It
What'd
was
you
a
Great.
non-Bad Batch.
Yeah. Batch.
Awesome.
It's awesome.
Pushing the story again. We're
Yes.
moving the story
Yeah.
forward, and now we're connecting Crosshair back in.
And
we
it
got
feels
the.
It feels like it feels like connecting Crosshair back in and possibly back into the Batch. Like
Yeah.
For sure, he's
Yeah,
he's
for
an enemy.
sure.
and they intentionally bring
You
it up
can't
to
kill
him
him.
too.
You can't
what
kill
about
him
your
now.
people?
Yeah,
They're like they intentionally bring up his squad, and he's like, they're no longer. What's he say?
doesn't
Like
matter.
I like when he's
doesn't
like,
matter. They're
something like
yeah.
the name's Mayday. What's yours?
It's like he was
Like,
ashamed of
He's
it.
like, I do like that name, but I'm not really supposed to say
Crosshair.
Mayday, so much better.
But yeah,
Mayday Malone?
loved the episode.
I loved the look of.
But yeah, I was
Mayday.
saying, I think
He's great.
I see a
cool.
pathway for Crosshair redemption. Whether
we've
he
been saying that all along.
whether he
man.
gets redeemed fully and is just like part of the crew, or if there is a member of the batch to actually die, I could see Crosshair
to bring that about.
as an act of redemption,
Hey.
dying, like to save the
we
batch
said
in some
Echo
way.
had to leave for a reason, to make room for
To
someone
make
else.
room?
Echo had to leave for a reason.
Crosshair.
Yeah.
But no,
Good
it was
soldiers suit the lieutenants.
the last two episodes. These last two episodes have been fantastic.
It's quite a shift.
Good
really is.
disobey orders.
Good soldiers follow orders.
Not this one.
Not this one, because I liked
Not
Mayday, who I
this
just
time.
met, but I liked him.
Dude, I
It
love
was
Mayday's,
cold
Mayday's
out
like
there.
mummy look of being all wrapped up
Yeah.
for the for the
Mayday
weather.
was awesome. He did not. So this episode was deep, was rough. They treat the clones like dirt now that they're really getting
I
them out of
know.
there.
Mm-hmm.
I love the
expendable.
fact that the whole mission of we have to protect this cargo. Well, what's the cargo? Oh, you're literally protecting the stuff for your replacements.
It's going to replace you.
Like
Yeah.
you
And
are.
it's almost
which is why they don't tell him.
You
it's
are
among the most
literally-
irrelevant, useless stuff.
It
They
is.
could get it
Yeah.
anywhere.
It's the most.
Upgrade.
And we are, but we also don't want our new recruits to protect this stuff.
right.
You guys who are expendable are
Yeah.
going to
Protect
protect.
it for him.
And
I'm not
there's
going to
gonna
send
be
my own.
there's
squad
going to
out
be
there.
raids, incursions, all of the stuff. Most of you are going to die, and then at the very end, when the person who's literally named Mayday, who we need help, and he's saying, "Oh, you get help," and he's just staring at him. It would be a waste of the Empire's resources. You could have saved him.
Yeah.
It would have been a waste of the resources.
He did die in like
kill
two-
you,
He
boom.
did die in like
He
2
did
seconds.
He did. I was thinking that when I was watching. He's
But,
like,
yeah.
"Help!" No. Well, even if he said yes with so much,
And we
enthusiasm,
rushed out there.
There's not a whole
Technically,
lot.
I don't think
that-
I could have.
But
No.
Crosshair's like, but it's about the thought. It was the intention. You didn't have
Did it on
How
intention.
about-
purpose.
How
Oh,
about?
man.
I mean, yeah, I love the episode. I want to talk a little bit about you kind of mentioned there was some depth in this episode. Dead weight. Dead weight. That was part of what got Crosshair, I think, in that Mayday connection of
Mhm.
dead weight. Oh, just dead weight.
Mhm.
Leave him behind. Just
Right.
Dead weight. And then when it came time to actually help Mayday, after they have the discussions, and he's seeing not just the bond from clone to clone and how badly they're getting treated,
Right.
but also after having the discussion of dead weight to then see Mayday in trouble and him realize I'm not gonna do what I basically had just talked about.
Right.
Dead weight.
Mhm.
I'm gonna prove that you're more than that.
You're more than
but
that.
we, not just you individually, but we as a whole, as clones, are more than that. We're more than just a soldier just following blatant
Yeah.
rules, and we're not just a tool to go on missions. Like
Mhm.
he even mentions like, well, it's a mission. Like he's like, why do it? And Crosshair's like, well, it's a mission. A mission's a mission. We
Yeah.
do a mission. So I just thought it was very interesting. You kind of see that development. And
It
who'd
took
have-
something like this to push him
Yeah.
over, right?
Yeah.
and who'd have thought the Bad Batch couldn't do it? But Mayday
Mayday.
got to him.
Well, the Empire really did it.
Yeah, the Empire.
That's the best way to.
This
Yeah.
It's the best motivator.
What was
I
this
love
guy's
it.
name? What
What's-
was this lieutenant's name?
I didn't write it down, but this guy was
What
great
a
because he was such a
dirtbag, this
little
guy.
weasel.
He was a weasel.
Farther than
Yeah.
just
He was just so terrible. Oh man, no, I loved this episode. I thought that the last couple of episodes, last week with the progression of really the main batch's story, while also touching on what's going on with Nala Se, what's going on with the cloning,
Yeah.
what's going on with this. You're
Yeah.
not serving the Empire's purpose, you're serving the Emperor's purpose.
Right.
All this stuff that we're like, I was so excited for this episode coming in. Just was wondering, okay, where are we gonna pick up? And then we come into a Crosshair episode, which so far, if we're going based on just how the season's gone,
the episode-
I love Crosshair
It's
episodes.
been
Oh
great.
man,
They've every single one. I mean, we had the Crosshair Cody episode. You're like, oh, this is at the time.
they've
Was like,
been my
this might be
favorite
the best one.
episodes.
Yeah.
They're awesome. But then I also love these episodes because it's more than just progressing Crosshair's character, but it's also most of the time it also gives us an insight into this is where we get a lot of the updates of what's going on with the Empire.
Empire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's when we
Yeah.
get more of this is the stage of what's going on with in the previous episode it wasn't a Crosshair episode, but that's where whenever we see the Empire stuff, that's when all of a sudden the Emperor comes up and he's like, stormtroopers, and all of a sudden you're like,
Yeah.
whoa, we're at that point in history.
Right.
And then this
They
episode
really
we
are using
actually
it. They're
get
doing a
them.
good job of
They're shifting.
showing the timeline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This time they're
Yeah.
actually literally shipping out the clones onto the thing.
Yeah.
And I just loved it. I thought it seems so different than some of the more side quest episodes. Like it is interesting. I think Bad Batch.
It's very character driven.
Running from crabs?
Yeah,
That's very
Bad-
different than
Yes, it feels.
Crosshair trying to
This is
survive in
why-
the snow. Without
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
why it makes sense that this is kind of Clone Wars adjacent, as far as you had the Clone Wars show and you have Bad Batch, and obviously you have the crossover because Bad Batch was introduced in the final season of Clone Wars.
Yeah.
But also, I mean this with the most respect for the show, is it still has that classic Clone Wars feel where you get these episodes that are hit over your head, some of the best Star Wars I've seen, like
Yeah.
in any medium. So good, like so good. And then you have one where they're like,
We have
they're
Droid and
just like,
R2.
oh, and then we'll also
Mace and
have,
R2.
and they're fine. There's not anything
Mace
bad
Windu and
about it.
R2D2. Like,
But yeah,
I don't really.
you have these exactly.
It's like, okay.
You totally have those side just
I
droid
thought for
adventures.
a second we might get a good warming in the tauntaun in a tauntaun.
Oh,
True. So
Yeah.
no, I love it.
great.
I love that it feels like two or three episodes ago we were like, man,
It's the end. This is the last season.
is this the last? Now I'm like,
Now it's like
they might do 7
10
seasons.
We
of
could
this.
go
This
on.
is
We-
great.
I still that doctor at the end with the accent.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
so close to Omega's
Omega,
dialect. It's
yes.
like specific.
And they pointed her out the previous episode, like they zoomed in on her a little bit
Yeah.
longer.
Yeah. So what do we think? Let's
What
talk
is
about
that
What do we
about?
think about the ending? Crosshair now is in a location where if they do go get Omega, who they're
Mhm.
searching for, and bring her here,
Mhm.
there's a overlapping location where the Batch and Crosshair now have an opportunity to meet up.
That's right. And well, then, and they know, of course, that Crosshair was in the Batch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that connection between them will allow him to be a perfect spy
Yeah.
to try
True.
to get them to come out and to be
Yeah.
open. I think that.
Gosh.
And then
But Crosshair's
him
he's a double agent.
Yeah.
He's not. He's going to follow. I
Yeah.
think that could be the path we take.
yeah.
But there's going to be some hiccups along the way.
Yeah.
I just want to know how the doctor there fits in with Omega and the clones, because the
Yeah.
two of them looked very similar.
They do.
Yeah, they do.
And
And the sound of them is very intentional.
why
Yeah,
would
sure.
Omega be the only female clone ever created? That feels a little weird to
Yeah,
me.
we've known there's something special about her.
Right.
They even say she's the key.
She's the key.
We don't know what for,
But there
she's
could
the key.
be
Says she's a key to
Other-
controlling LSA. So like, we don't know. Other than
I
she's
think it was
close
her-
to her because she like kind of raised her.
I
but
think
I
there's
also wonder
something
if
about
it's
the cloning.
I think it's her
aspect.
daughter.
yeah, like
'Cause,
it's
like-
essentially her.
You know,
It's-
Django and Boba. I think she wanted a daughter and to
And they could
Yeah,
make another.
Yeah.
to have to
They could
raise
clone
and
a-
love.
And
Kaminoan.
maybe it has to do some. Oh, this just hit me. Maybe it has to do something with. She was the one who figured out how to alter what the clones were,
Oh,
and that's part of what that is. Exists in Omega,
yeah,
which leads to the Grogu stuff eventually with the altering, trying to get the Force ability into
yeah.
into Snoke, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Omega is actually the first to be altered differently, not just the aging thing, but actually take what was a clone
Mm-hmm.
and basically change, a bigger aspect of that. I don't know. But I wonder if that has to play a key into like you're saying, she wanted a daughter and she figured out how to do that.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that could play a role into why she's so special, why they're after Omega.
I'm rethinking that now because Omega doesn't see her as a mother. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because she was fine leaving
So
the match.
it's different than mother-daughter. Something else. I think you might be onto it.
Yeah.
There's something in there.
There's definitely there's definitely got something special about Omega,
Mhm.
and I've been trying to piece it together, and I wonder if it has to do with the altered DNA, which was something that was figured out how they did it, and
Well, we know that all the clones had the chip inserted, and
Right.
none of them knew it was in there.
right,
What if there's something in Omega that we don't know about yet that
Could
was
be.
inserted that's in there
could be,
that can be triggered and unleashed at any point? We just
Yeah.
interesting, yeah,
another form of Order 66 that hasn't been opened
Yeah.
yet. That
Yeah.
would be interesting.
would be.
That would be. It's so interesting because the
I love
The
that. It
moment
seems
they
like we've had these
introduce-
directions, and I still have no
Don't
idea
know.
what's
the
gonna
moment they
happen.
introduced Omega into the show, you knew they had to have some big purpose for her.
Something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they had
This
an
would be a big
overarching
reason
vision
why
for
there's
it.
a female clone who is teaming up with the Bad Batch. Like,
the same but different.
Yeah.
Obviously. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm
I
just
don't know,
loving
but
the
it
show
definitely
right
feels
now.
like the story is starting to get there. Like it's
Oh,
starting
yeah.
to
We're going
emphasize these.
Storyline. Omega
Very
storyline is
much.
coming.
Yep.
It doesn't feel
Yep.
like from here until the end of the season there's going to be much fluff.
No.
It doesn't feel like we're going to.
Doesn't feel like it.
It
on
really
our
It feels
I
like they're
wonder-
really hitting. They're
Yeah.
really full
Crosshair's
speed
coming
right now.
around. Omega, the
Crosshair's
search
coming
is
around. They've
on.
already
with the
put out
Batch
like we
last
have to
time.
find them.
The episode before this.
Episode before this, the Empire said we have to go find the Batch.
I knew that, but what were they doing?
They told off Sid.
yeah, they told us.
They were fighting that creature and
They were fighting the
and
creature.
the
Yeah.
thing that kept
Right.
growing based on the
Yeah.
Yep. The Zilla Beast.
Yeah.
and
We
they
didn't
Oh,
see where
and
they,
they
were
had-
gonna
they
go,
fought the
maybe.
ties and they escaped on
Did,
the ship.
did they have
and
conversations about Echo and Rex?
Oh,
did.
they said
They're gonna
go
they're gonna
contact Echo and
try to
Rex.
get
to him.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
they're Huh.
They did.
Man,
It's all
It
coming
feels
together.
like them saying contact Echo and Rex are essentially Echo left because he thought that they should be doing something more, like that they
Mhm.
should be
He had a different
more
purpose,
involved.
Yeah.
He had a different purpose, and it felt like at the end of the last episode, Hunter being the one to say contact Echo and Rex. It was
We gotta
also
do
kind of
something.
the moment we've been waiting for Hunter, because we've said Hunter's kind of been was the leader season 1.
He hasn't said
Kinda-
yes to anything.
He hasn't
just
said
goes
less
all
than
out.
hardly
step
anything.
back, yeah.
Echo's even like, come on, let's get going. And Hunter's kind of like, oh, we're doing this. And Hunter's just fine going along with kind of
Mm-hmm.
everything that they've been doing with Sid. And he's not getting too involved. And Echo's like, listen, if that's your guys' purpose, great. I think that I got to go. I got to go with
Right.
Rex. I feel called to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Then all of a sudden, this is finally the tipping point. And I like that Hunter's like, I saw someone else say this. I think I heard on Force Center, one of them mentioned it. They said it kind of felt like the Bad Batch's version of the Never More Than 12. Like the moment where Kino Loy finally is like,
Mm-hmm.
they've been saying, come on, we need, tell me, we need you can do this revolution. And then he finally gets the breaking point and says, Never More Than
realizes.
12. And the episode ends, and you're like,
He's
in
in.
with them. They're going. They're
Right.
going full rebellion to
Yeah.
get out of here. That was kind of Hunter's moment of, come on, we need to do something more.
Now we know our
Contact
direction.
Echo and Rex. Boom. You're like,
Boom.
all right,
Let's
now
go.
we're going. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
it feels like the batch is not just kind of gonna loiter around on these different planets,
Yeah.
just hanging out.
No. Big purpose.
Love it.
Gonna be
Both
good.
shows. Both shows are
I know.
exciting
I
stuff.
know.
I
in
think they
both
both.
shows right now.
When Mando came out, I think both of them have been really good. I don't know if
Yeah.
is it intentional. Like, oh, we got to compete with Mando now. We got to.
I know.
Maybe
It does
not.
And
feel
it's
like all
funny
of a
because
sudden it
last
steps up.
week we even watched the premiere episode of Mando season 3, and then I watched Bad Batch, and I'm like,
Wow.
I'm almost more excited about what just happened in
What
Bad Batch.
happened, right?
That batch is great.
I was like, what is
Palpatine
going
and everything.
on?
I know.
Yeah,
Love it.
no,
It's coming.
I like it. I like where we're at with Star Wars right now. Things are looking up.
Yeah.
No, things are good. Things are good.
Love it. It's great.
Any what's been going on? I'm trying to think before we wrap up. Star Wars news. Star Wars news going around. We got
Bad
the
news.
official.
Yeah.
Not from Disney, but Variety.
Variety
had
had an article about
had the article about
Patty Jenkins and
Patty Jenkins.
Kevin
Rogue
Feige.
Squadron's no longer
Yeah.
in development. Same with Kevin Feige's.
Yeah.
Which Patty Jenkins
figured.
doesn't surprise me. That's been rumored for. We haven't had any official announcement or
Yeah.
anything, but it's been rumored for a while now that they've been having those discussions of things weren't lining up, which is unfortunate because I was looking forward to that. But the Kevin Feige, I think, was more recent news,
Mhm.
and that kind of came out at the same time. But again, I don't think that surprises me at all.
because we haven't heard any update in over a year on it.
we haven't heard any
Yeah.
update, and the current state of the MCU. Not that it's in like a
he's got
bad,
some
bad
got some
state,
work to do.
but they're clearly redoing
Figuring
some
out
things.
He can't be
with-
spreading himself too thin.
They're
with other
delaying
stuff.
stuff. They're realizing. I think they realize they're trying to do too much at one time.
Yeah.
And for him to then be handling all that right now, and to then be like, "No, I'm going to go do the Star Wars thing." It's like he's probably like, "I don't even have time for it." And of course, you see a lot of people. Not a ton, but there's always some people that it falls back on Kathleen Kennedy, and I think we've talked about this before. There's some areas where you can take responsibility, and then we should take responsibility. But I do think there's some aspects, like say if that's the case for Kevin Feige, it's nothing she can control. It's like, okay, well, yeah, the MC's got to do what he's got to do.
yeah. Right.
Things get out about these, announcements and stuff about things in development or in the works or potential stuff that end up not happening. But it definitely feels like right now, with the rumors that a potential Star Wars film could be announced at Star Wars Celebration, it just feels like there's a lot of pressure on whether it's just or unjust. It feels like there's a lot of pressure on them on Star Wars, on Lucasfilm, for whatever the announcement is, because they have had so many. It's been a long time.
Right.
They've had these announcements of shows and movies. Some of the shows are happening, and then some aren't. And then some of these movies you hear about, these films that are coming out, then some things change. So to me, it feels like if they make an announcement at Star Wars Celebration, they must be pretty confident that this thing is going to happen.
It's gonna be,
and
yeah.
It must be pretty far along.
Right.
And not that they've started filming or anything, but pretty set in stone that
Yeah.
like this is going to happen. This is going to be our next thing.
Yep.
So I hope we get an announcement.
We'll see.
I mean, at this point, it's been so long. I'll take a holiday special sequel. I want any.
Man,
I love it.
No, but
there are rights to
mean,
that. We can't show that and just watch it together,
I
can we?
don't think so. We can watch it in our own time.
We could watch it, just not monetize it.
we could do it and just deal with the consequences.
Hey, let's do it.
No.
Any publicity is good publicity.
That's right. Just ask,
I'd love to get
ask Will and Chris. They'll tell you that.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah,
They've been more popular. Will Smith and Chris Rock are at the top of all of the.
that's true.
No.
Jedi Survivor. It's coming out soon.
Oh, when is that?
Is that next month? I don't
That's
remember
with
the
Jeff
exact
Probst,
date.
right?
Jedi Survivor.
Jedi Survivor.
Yeah,
Survivor 44. Jedi.
that's right.
Previously on
That's just
Jedi Survivor.
Jedi Survivor.
Cal Kestis found himself falling off of a rock and trying to survive.
But he used a hidden immunity idol to escape.
He used a hidden immunity idol. Someone needs to make a montage of
That'd be
that.
so
Jedi.
great.
Get the Jedi
Previously
Survivor
on
Van Damme.
Survivor. Cal
No, that's
Kestis
great.
found himself.
The
No, but
Mandalorians
searching
are wiped
for an
out in the
immunity
night
idol.
of 1,000 tears. They're like,
I wonder how
Gosh.
much, or if any, of Jedi Survivor with its release date and all that stuff will have any involvement or
Tie into any of the-
tie into any of this stuff.
That'd be
I
interesting.
think the most likely could be Kenobi because it kind of overlaps that
Mhm.
time
Yeah.
time frame,
Mhm.
and maybe Bad Batch.
Maybe.
There's some overlap there.
Mhm.
So we could see some of that stuff, but hey, we got BD1 or
Right, or a BD,
droid,
yeah.
BD,
Right.
yeah. So I love that they're throwing these things in
It's cool.
these series. But
I love
anything
it.
else?
I love it.
Anything else?
Not really. I think, let me see. I screenshotted. It's not really news, but I know.
I have a crazy theory that we can
Ooh.
finish with
Ooh, all right.
after
Theory.
you. I'll pull it up. So
Are Jawas not the scum of the universe, though? They did the same thing on Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Where they're stealing from him and selling him back, and they do the
Totally.
same thing, stealing from the.
They stole from Mando in first episode, or
Exactly,
second
and they
episode,
and then he's
stripped his ship, and then he has to go fight the Mudhorn.
Indiana Jones it to get the.
He
the
did.
egg.
Indiana
Suka.
Jones did. Suka.
They're so funny.
All
though.
right.
All right, Nate, what do you got to close it?
Well, did you have something?
No, I mean,
'Cause
yes,
if not,
not.
okay.
Is it
Oh,
tie in with International Women's Day today?
Oh,
We can rattle them all off. We got Harrison Dula, Bo-Katan.
wait, naming all.
We're just gonna
all Star Wars.
just gonna
women.
rattle them off.
Rattle
We're
them
gonna
off.
rattle off every
Off the top
single
of my
one.
head,
ever.
we
Virtue
got
signal
Padme,
all of
we
them.
got,
We got Bo-Katan.
We're gonna.
Shout out to Bo-Katan.
We'd cut down a
Bo-
whole
Shout out to Ahsoka Tano.
So good. We
It
know
is
you're
fitting.
listening.
We
We know you're
I
listening.
will say it is fitting that they had this episode highlighting her for today.
that's true.
That was good.
We had.
My wife texted me and said, "I'm really mad. Nobody wished me a happy International Women's Day.
Not one person.
Not one person." So you know what I said? Happy International Women's Day.
And she said, "Stop it." Now it means even less. than you said.
I had to
So
ask.
happy International Women's Day. She said, "Thank you." And,
Went right into Norm.
and that's it.
And then I went back to,
She said,
someone
when,
else.
she said, "When is International Men's Day?" I said, "Every day.
Every day.
Every other
Oh,
day."
man.
That's
That is a
So,
Norm
uh,
joke.
every day, including
day.
today.
Including
it's the only
today.
day that has a crossover there. Couldn't even give him the whole day.
I ain't
That-
get part of the
that-
day.
Did you have?
Not
Okay.
really.
All right. So
Well, okay, yeah.
hear me out. Hear me out. This
All
isn't
right.
a theory I necessarily think is going to happen. Because
Well, then save it.
There's no evidence of this happening.
But I want a cold
I
hard.
want a
But
guaranteed
hear me
theory.
out. Hear me out. Ready?
All right, all right.
All right. Well,
So I'm just gonna read off my thread. I tweeted this.
This is your.
This is my. I randomly. It was like midnight last night. I was like, huh. It kind of hit me
All right, cool.
because I realized some time period overlap. If you're a Star Wars lore master out there, Darth Chaco, Element 7, you guys are watching. Correct me if any of this
Does
doesn't
not
fit
lore up.
canon wise, but
You know, that's the line
here you
up.
go. Yeah,
Yeah.
lore, yeah, that's good. Here's how the Mandalorian could be heading toward the Knights of Ren
Ooh.
thread. So I looked into some of this stuff, and some of this ties to the comics. But Ren, the leader of the Knights of Ren before Kylo takes over, during the time of the Mandalorian, so this time period, Ren is the current leader of the Knights of Ren. This is obviously before Kylo's taken over. The Knights of Ren are force sensitive, but to varying degrees, each specializing in their own unique weapon, Ren carrying the red saber, called the Ren. Palpatine. Although the Knights of Ren are viewed as neither Sith nor Jedi and follow their own code, eventually they fall bidding to Palpatine during this time. This, however, is known as a secret. Not supposed to be known that Palpatine is,
Mm-hmm.
giving them orders. In the shadows. So, being a secret, Palpatine controlled the Knights from the shadows in hiding at this time in The Mandalorian. So, during this time frame in The Mandalorian. Palpatine is still, quote, gathering his contingency plan, so putting it together, as we see with the cloning and stuff like that with Grogu.
Mm-hmm.
As we see glimpses of secret cloning operations still occurring, hence the hunt for Grogu. The Knights of Ren. In desperation for Grogu, it could very well happen that Palpatine sends the Knights of Ren on a hunt themselves, because they're basically his special forces team.
Wow.
Ren, which is why they're kind of in secret. We don't
Mhm.
have a lot of story behind them, because they're not doing Imperial things. They're doing things for Palpatine
Mm-hmm.
and for their own stuff. Ren having some force sensitivity and a lightsaber would make a perfect competitor for a Mandalorian and their armor. It's tradition, because Mandalorians,
Or even a Bo-Katan with
or even a Bo-Katan,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
a Mandalorian.
A Mandalorian,
So,
right?
what do we know about the tradition of Mandalorians? Fought against the Jedi.
Yeah.
Right? So they fought against force sensitivity, which is what, force sensitives, which is what kind of pushed them to do the Mandalorian armor, the Beskar, create these advanced weapons to fight Jedi, to fight force users, hence the creation of the Darksaber.
Mm-hmm.
Din Djarin, this obviously would be Din Djarin as he fights to protect Grogu, utilizing his Mandalorian armor and providing an opportunity to actually put his Darksaber up against another lightsaber.
Wow.
And then this was just a side thing. I said the fans. It's no secret that Star Wars fans have wanted more screen time of the Knights of Ren ever since they were first introduced in The Force Awakens. This could be that opportunity. They've been a secretive group in the shadows, and this could be why. So overall, Ren. So why this could make sense? Overall, Ren would be a legitimate competitor that we haven't seen on screen for Din Djarin over Moff Gideon, because he took down Moff Gideon pretty easily.
It would make sense to have another baddie up
It makes
there.
sense to have someone else. Could be Thrawn, but I'm just throwing this out there.
Yeah.
The Knights of Ren are the perfect bridge between Grogu, cloning, Palpatine's contingency plan, since they're directly in line with Palpatine.
Wow.
Fans have wanted more of the Knights of Ren, and we know that they're out there.
And we've had the Night of
And
a
Dave
Thousand.
Filoni knows they're out there, yeah.
We've had
Yeah.
the Night of a Thousand
Awesome.
Tears. Maybe we have the Knights of a Thousand Ren.
Ooh.
Yeah. So there you go.
1,000 Ren.
Night
There
of a
you go.
Thousand
Not
Ren.
saying it's good. There's no hint in The Mandalorian
kidding.
as to that happening.
But that would be cool.
timeline-wise, we know they're out there. It makes sense that if another thing came up and Palpatine wants to get Grogu,
And that's
eventually, and that's part of their contingency plan, like we kind of think it is.
that would be
without
awesome.
revealing himself, there could be a Knights of Ren
That would be
on the hunt.
cool.
On the hunt.
And before anyone says, I just don't think this show would take that big of a swing, we had
got-
Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
None of us thought that was going
We can go
Plus,
anywhere. It's
let's
got to
be
be
honest.
Mace.
gonna
Let's
happen.
be honest. We want to see the Darksaber.
We
go
then
up
got
against
Luke
the lightsaber.
Skywalker in the Boba Fett
Oh,
show.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's part of the
It's true.
reason why I started thinking that. I was like,
That'd be awesome.
the Darksaber is meant to combat lightsaber.
Lightsabers.
So,
We got to get those in there.
like, if I had to guess, I would say there's probably eventually within the Mandalorian story, the
Mhm.
Darksaber will eventually probably line up against the lightsaber.
Yeah.
Maybe. And who else could be out there?
that would be
could
perfect.
Be it? A dark
That'd be awesome.
force sensitive that could be Ren.
That'd
and
be
then
great.
that would tie in, and it would give also people a little bit more
I'm down.
history of the Knights of
I
Ren.
would
and
love to
get
see
their
it.
screen
I like
time
it.
since everybody wanted them. Also connecting
love
the
to
story
see
of
it.
Palpatine. So there you go.
And
Not
then
that
you
this
get
will
it-
happen this season,
And
but
that leads to a whole Knights of Ren show then.
that would be great.
I was giggling at the
Ooh.
beginning. I would love that to happen. I was giggling at the beginning because I was watching the other day Monty
Wizard of
Python
Oz?
and the Holy
Oh.
Grail.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So I'm thinking, we are the knights who say Ren. Ren. I was like, what would that
Would
be?
you love to see the Knights of Ren too?
What could
Just
you offer me?
How
Knights
they could
who
tie
say
to Mandalorian. But yeah,
So
I
dumb.
just it randomly hit me last night. I was like, wait, they're
That
around.
would
They're
be-
around during this time.
That'd be a great.
So yeah,
That'd be cool.
interesting.
And this is, as we're closing, this is unrelated to Star Wars, but I know Uncle will appreciate this. I was watching Tombstone last night.
Oh yeah.
It's
That-
tied to the Mandalorian.
You know Daisy.
Well,
You know Daisy.
well,
You know Daisy. You know,
There's
Daisy.
so many. This is not Star Wars related at all. I had to just
Let's
get it
have
out
a
Well,
there.
spelling
the only true way
contest.
to end a Star Wars podcast is to bring up something not even Star Wars related. Take it away.
I apologize. I forgot you were there.
I forgot.
you may
Johnny
go.
Ringo. You
may-
may go now.
You might go now.
Leave the shotgun.
Leave a shotgun, and then he thanks
I
him.
apologize.
This is Billy Bob. This is Billy Bob Thornton's character there.
I know.
Billy Bob. Thank you. Thank you.
This is my favorite line.
Thank you.
When he says, "You're gonna say something, or just stand there and bleed."
You stand there and bleed. So, thank you.
All right, youngster,
Yeah.
out you go.
Doc,
I know you was in town.
I know you was in town.
Johnny Tyler.
I know you was in town.
Madcap.
What you doing
Like,
with that
what
shit?
is that line about? It had to be. Val had to make that up. Johnny Tyler. Madcap. I know you was in town.
I know he's in town. Now
it.
my new thing is I'm working on the Billy Bob.
Leave the
I know
shotgun.
you was in town. I know you was in town. Doc,
Well,
Doc,
It's like playing cards with my brother's kids.
Doc, Doc, I didn't know you was in town.
Johnny Tyler.
I don't know what is happening.
I love it.
You know
Love
Daisy. You know Daisy.
I
Yeah,
love
you
it.
may go. Now.
That's not Stephen Foster.
If you've
just,
This is Chopin.
just quote the
if you
whole thing.
Why, Kate? You're not wearing a busset.
Steven,
not wearing a
Steven
bustle.
Stinking Foster.
Frederick Chopin.
Oh man!
What
If you
a
haven't
great-
seen Tombstone, go watch it.
Yeah.
Go
That's how
watch
we'll
it.
leave our Star Wars podcast
you go.
tonight.
Well, there you have it.
And was it? Yeah,
Mando.
And Wizard of Oz.
Mando chapter
If you
18.
haven't seen, if
If
you haven't
you
seen
haven't
this
seen
little
the-
film called Wizard of Oz,
Go
do
watch
yourself a
Tombstone
favor.
instead. Skip that one. Go watch
Skip that.
Milos Forman's
regardless of
Tombstone.
if you've seen Tombstone already. If you haven't seen Wizard of Oz, do
Go
yourself
wa-
a favor. Go
Skip
watch
it.
Tombstone
Tombstone.
again.
Yeah.
Madcap.
I love it.
Dorothy.
Someone just walked over
Madcap.
your grave.
Well, there you have it.
Oh,
Mando
man.
chapter 18. The Mines of Moria. No,
The Mines of
the Mines of Mandalore.
Rings of Mandalore.
Great episode. Let us know your guys' thoughts. If you made it this far, please drop a like on the video. It helps us out. It helps push out the videos.
What's our secret code?
Our secret code? Yeah.
If you've watched this far,
you shall not pass. Drop-
You shall not.
made it
shall
this
not
far,
pass.
Drop in the comments.
Put that
you
in the
shall not
comments.
pass.
We
type
will.
in Johnny Ringo.
Johnny.
Yeah.
You know Daisy.
But yeah, so thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it. Let us know what your guys' thoughts are. Put it in the comments. What you guys like about the episode? What are your
Smash.
predictions? What are your Mando maybes?
Smash it.
And like Uncle said, smash that
Smash
notification
it.
bell
Smash
so you don't miss
it.
out on when we go live and when we post our videos. So until next time, we'll see you next Wednesday. Another Mando review, episode 3,
Bad
chapter
Batch.
19. We'll see you guys there. And as always, may the Force be with you.
I have spoken.
I just felt like it was a good time to
It
bring
was a
back
good
Nick
time to
Nolte.
bring
I
it
have
back.
spoken. Yeah.
It's just as great there with other great. I
First
was
need to
on
write a
Poker
blurb.
Face.
I
I
saw
do
someone
stock.
said,
I do stop motion